This is great. They made my speech in font big enough I don't need my glasses. Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here today with both my family and so many good friends. Before we discuss why you're all here today, I'd like to tell you what brought me here. I'm grateful for all the opportunities I've had in my life. In fact, I feel like I've lived the American dream. I grew up poor. I grew up in a family where my parents struggled every day to make ends meet and to provide for me, my 6 brothers, and my sister. We learned early on what was called the boarding house reach. Some of you might be familiar with that. That's where you reach for the last biscuit. As you can see, I won most of the time. Yeah. But I did learn to work hard at an early age and to be proud of my work no matter what it was. My first job was as a paperboy in Tingsboro, Mass. And I remember just how big that Sunday paper was to a 10-year-old boy. It's also where I learned how to be a decoy for the police canines, because on that route there was a big German Shepherd, and every day he would chase me from one end of his property to the next. But the real fun was on collection day, when it was a race to see who could get to the door and grab the envelope first. A lot of times I grabbed the envelope just as that dog grabbed the seat of my pants. But I can tell you, I got faster and thinner every week, and I probably should have kept that up as I got older. In junior high school, I was fortunate enough to be hired by Charles Panagoulas, who was a cobbler and had a shoe repair shop in Nashville. I was the shoe shine boy. I shined the shoes of every important politician in the city of Nashville, including Mayor Vadji. At age 14, I gave the best shine of anybody in the city. And I had customers who expected to see the part of their hair in the tips of their shoes, and I succeeded every time. I even learned a little trick of putting a little polish crease in there for those who didn't have hair to have a part. In high school, I worked at Greenbrier Nursing Home in maintenance. In fact, that's where I met my wife. She worked the kitchen, I worked maintenance. Where do you think the hungry maintenance guys were all the time? Even then, though, we had fancy names for the guys who mopped the bathroom floors in every room, waxed the cafeteria floors. At that time, the fancy name was Bob. But I learned a lot there. I learned respect for those who had come before me and left for me a place just a little bit better than they had received it. And the message every one of those people gave in that nursing home was that I should do the same for the generation after me. I appreciated every day the education opportunities I had in the Nashville public school system. Unfortunately, I never had enough money to send myself to school for higher education. After high school, I married my sweetheart, Priscilla. She enrolled in college, and we struggled for 4 years, but we did manage to get by until her graduation. But her graduation present to me was to tell me that we had our first child on the way. I went to work in the construction industry, and I took a job everywhere and anywhere I could. If the opportunity was there, I took it. And I'll tell you, hard work and perseverance paid off, because later I owned my own construction company and a number of other small businesses. Priscilla and I have been married for 34 years, and we live in Hudson. We've raised 2 wonderful children, Jeff and Jessica. Jeff runs a film company. He is the creative genius of the family. As a matter of fact, that's him. I don't know where he gets the long hair from. Right over there filming me. And for those of you who wondered why I waited until February 6th to have this announcement, it's because February 6th is my son Jeff's birthday. And if this turns out as well as he has, I can tell you I will be very happy. As a youngster, my daughter Jessica was always trying to tell me what it was she was going to do. And at age 10, she announced that she was going to be a teacher. And she's not here today because today she is a teacher in the middle school in Hudson, and she couldn't get a day off. I think she could have, but she said, "Dad, I don't want to substitute teaching my class," so I'll give her credit. Many years ago, we also met a girl named Teresa who's from Mozambique. She was an exchange student. Today, Teresa is a member of our family, and she has given us our first grandchild, Sydney. They would have liked to have been here today, but as a teacher in Mozambique, she couldn't leave her classrooms. Those classrooms over there are a lot tougher. There is no substitute. And she sent her love, which is as good as anything. I've always felt it was important to give back and be a good member of the community. I always thought that in order to be a good citizen, you had to give back a little more than you took. In my years in Hudson, I've served as a town councilor, selectman, member of the Building Board of Appeals, and member of the Budget Committee. I've been a member of other boards and civic organizations, and I did the best I could anytime I was asked. I've been honored to serve the people of the state of New Hampshire in the House of Representatives for 8 years. I've served in the Senate for the last 5 going on 6. I've served in leadership in both chambers. My priority has always been to work for the betterment of our state, its people, and to hold up our principles of freedom, independence, and limited government. I've worked with you on some of the most difficult issues facing our state: the budget, education funding, energy, to name but a few. And we've always reached across the aisle to work with colleagues to craft the right solutions. The people we serve have never cared whether the answers were Republican or Democrat. They cared only that they were just and helped our state. They've asked that we legislate with honor and integrity, and that's what I've attempted to do for the last 13 years. I also believe that's what the people want in their representation in Washington. They want to see a government that works for them, not against them. A government that inspires them with their deeds and their actions. People want leaders. They don't want those who intend on dividing and tearing apart our country. They no longer want to listen to a chorus of partisan bickering, and honestly, neither do I. We want a strong country to leave for our children, one that allows them to pursue their dreams the same way we pursued ours. They simply ask that we leave them with a nation that is just a little bit better than we found it. That's why today I'm announcing my candidacy for the Republican nomination for the 2nd District of the United States Congress. I was actually afraid that was going to say, "What's Bob up to?"